Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Yellow Ropes Forever. NXT Rundown, running down another episode of NXT that is so boring for the most part, except for the main event, that what even are we doing here? I don't know. Like, NXT has just gotten very SmackDown lately, and I'm not really okay with it. And I'm sorry to start this off on such a down note, but that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, and it's frustrating. But my name is Sondra, and I'm joined here once again by my dear friend William Studd. Hello.
Hello there.
And I know I'm supposed to be the positive one here, but this episode was kind of boring, wasn't it?
This episode was very boring. So boring that I don't remember hardly anything that happened on it, except for the things we have talked about recently, including Bayley and Carmella.
Bayley and Carmella was not boring.
No, that was good. But the rest of the show was kind of like, wake me when it's over,
Wake me up when we
because,
get to the main event. I don't know. I talked with Shane about last week's episode, and we said that NXT is in a holding pattern. And I just really feel like that's true because I feel like we're setting up all the main events. I say main events, we're setting up all the matches for Dallas, right? Like TakeOver Dallas on April, whatever the Friday is. And that's April. We are in February. We are in mid-February. And is nothing important going to happen until Dallas? I don't know. I don't like it. This isn't the way my NXT used to be. Dag nabbit. Like, I'm 31 now. I'm going to be an old curmudgeon or something. I don't know.
yeah, don't do that.
It's just frustrating because NXT has always been the show where stuff happens and things matter and you're rewarded for paying attention. And there is still some of that. And I'm sounding really down on everything. There is stuff that I like on this episode that isn't Carmella versus Bayley. But fucking hell. Yeah, we'll get into the episode in just a moment.
Oh God, I
I'm
thought we
sorry.
were talking about the episode.
We're going
Oh, what
to.
happened?
No, this was just
Oh,
my complaining about it before we actually get into it. But I
oh,
like playing
exactly. I
music.
thought that was talking about it because it was just
It's
that boring.
yeah, there's not that much more to say, but we'll say it after this musical interlude.
Fabulous. Fabulous, yes. Diamonds on my neck. Yes, I'm fabulous. They keep hating on me, I don't stress. Don't got time for this, 'cause I'm fabulous.
And we're back. And we started off the night with Baron Corbin versus Johnny Gargano. And despite my little moaning diatribe that I had at the beginning of the show moments ago, I liked this match. I'm sure I liked this match more than you did because Baron Corbin was in it, and that's just sort of cue for you to fall asleep. But I think
Make me
Baron
when
Corbin
you
is
get
getting
something.
better. I do. Like, have you seen improvement in Baron Corbin, or have you just sort of still not seen improvement in Baron Corbin at all?
You want the truth? I really don't pay much attention to Baron Corbin.
Fair enough.
I mean, even when we've watched wrestling and there's been the triple threat stuff, and he's usually taking a nap on the outside or drinking somebody's beer or something, I'm really not paying, and I'm not paying attention to him other than, going, God, I hate that guy. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm really not, but it's just
I mean, he's not the greatest.
no, of course not.
No, he's not.
But
I mean, he's not terrible anymore though either. I think the fact is Baron Corbin used to be so bad, and now Baron Corbin is actually he's turning into a good wrestler. He is Roman Reigns in most of the
oh,
ways.
oh,
I said good. I didn't say
ouch,
great. He is
ow.
turning into a good wrestler though. You don't want to see it, but he is.
I feel like less of a wrestler, well, because you said that. I feel like
No,
I.
Baron Corbin turning into a good wrestler does not make you less of a wrestler. But I mean, Baron Corbin and Johnny Gargano, it was kind of amusing, first of all, because Johnny Gargano, and I'm saying Gargano, which feels really counterintuitive because I want to say Gargano. It's just my natural proclivity. But I've heard Johnny Gargano say
Oops.
Gargano. And so I feel like that's how he pronounces his own name, and I have to say that. But He's so much tinier than Baron Corbin. It's weird because when Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are tag teaming, like he's the shorter of the two, but he doesn't look super tiny. Next to Baron Corbin, he looks super tiny, which makes Baron Corbin look a lot bigger, which was just interesting. I don't know. But I mean, I thought this was a decent match. There's not that much to say about it. It was kind of back and forth for a little while, but if you thought Johnny Gargano was going to win, no, he wasn't going to win. But I thought it was decent. I'm not super invested in Johnny Gargano as a wrestler. I mean, I really only like Tommaso Ciampa at this point because what we saw from him in Milwaukee was so fantastic against Sami Zayn, right?
Sorry. Yes, it was.
What are you doing?
I am thinking it's hilarious that you're like, I'm not really a big fan of Johnny Gargano at this point.
Well,
You're you're being politically correct like I do, and I'm like, I hate that guy. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I hate that guy.
how you
You're-
preface, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm gonna totally be a dick right now.
yes, you're doing that. Congratulations. I'm
Yeah,
rubbing
well,
off on you.
I've been around you too long, I think is what's going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
Ah,
that's true. I think so.
mm.
But Johnny Gargano does not win the match. Baron Corbin wins with the end of days. It was actually kind of a cool end of days. Um,
I think I did say that. I'm sorry, I'm yawning. I'm not really yawning. No,
it's just we
I
were talking about Baron Corbin and you couldn't help
yeah,
yourself.
I know. Every time you say his name, I want to yawn. But I do remember saying that I did appreciate that end of days more than I've appreciated, I think, anything he's ever done, ever.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean,
And it
they
was
had
cool, but it was still him. So there's
it
that.
was still him. Yes, it was still him. But they had exchanged some, near falls or whatever, and Gargano looked like he might be coming back and maybe he would get a surprise win or something. They kind of had me toward the end. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty decent. It is what it is. I liked the match. It had no consequence whatsoever other than Baron Corbin is upset about being taken out of the title picture because William Regal said last week that the only definitive thing about that triple threat clusterfuck was that Baron Corbin lost, so he's no longer in the title picture, and Baron needs to prove himself. And
Right.
he got
Which
a win over someone who had a name, so there was that.
he's got a name.
He has a name. He doesn't actually work for the company, but he has a name, which is cool. And
So
then,
there's that, I
so
guess.
there's
But
that. We actually took a look back at the number one contenders triple threat after that, and the whole
I
Baron Corbin tapped out to both Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe kind of a deal. And Alex Reyes is backstage with Sami Zayn to ask him what he thinks about William Regal's decision to make Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe have a match next week. And Sami Zayn doesn't look super thrilled with the decision because he thought he had won. He had the sharpshooter on Baron Corbin longer than Samoa Joe had the crossface on, obviously. Sami had thought that, you know, he had the match won and he really wanted to get that opportunity because he wants to be the first two-time NXT champion. And I want him to be the first two-time NXT champion, something I've wanted for a very long time. And I think had he not gotten injured, maybe we could have actually had that, except probably not because they were going to call him up to the main roster because his match against John Cena was technically supposed to be a debut. But let's forget that we actually know those things. I just want Sami Zayn to win, like always, all the time. I'm actually wearing my Sami Zayn shirt right now.
just so you know, I completely forgot those things. Whatever those things you said, let's forget, I did forget them.
Well, good. See?
All right then. I'm glad that you're happy about this.
To be fair, I don't know if you forgot them or you just didn't know them because you weren't watching at that point.
Hey.
Yeah.
Shh. Just let it go.
Okay.
Just let it go.
Letting it go.
Oh yeah. So there's something I was gonna show you.
Yes,
And I'm okay with this being on the show as long as you are.
that's fine.
So,
I'll edit it if I'm not.
oh whatever, it's gonna be on the show now
It's on the show now.
because I am doing it and it is good. You
Awesome.
just wait.
Sweet.
So I know how much of a fan you are of Francesca.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I might buy her shirt.
Oh,
Oh, and her Twitter account follows me now.
really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm really excited about it.
All right. Well, let's hope I can do this without screwing it up because occasionally I screw it up, but
I'll
we'll see
edit
what
it in
happens.
post. Whatever.
So. Damn it, I screwed it up. No, I can't do it because I'm thinking about it. So you might want to just edit this. Yeah, it's not bad. It sounds better. It sounded better the other day.
That's
Sorry.
awesome.
I was doing it really well the other day, and I was so tempted to record it when I was doing it because it sounded really good, but I didn't. So there was that.
That makes me happy though.
So, yes, I can't do it when I have my headphones on. So I have to take my headphones off, which means I can't hear words right now. So let's try this again. I don't know.
Yay.
It still sounded better last time.
Well,
Oh
it
well.
sounded good here too, and it makes me happy because I love a good Francesca reference. Even if
Okay.
it's completely non sequitur, but it's totally fine with
You and
me.
your words. God.
But after Sami Zayn talks to Alex Reyes, they announce Bayley versus Carmella for the NXT Women's Championship. They open the show with a thing about it too, because it's basically like this episode is all about Bayley and Carmella, and everything else is gonna
There was
happen
only two
ish.
matches, right? I mean,
No, there were not only two matches. Uh,
oh, I don't know.
you would think,
I, I've
you would think.
I've been
The
I've
next
been
match
hitting the
is
head since
probably, yeah, you do get hit in the head a lot. The next match is probably something that you don't remember because it's something you probably don't want to remember because it is the Hype Bros versus John Skylar and Corey Hollis. Now, the most interesting thing about this match has nothing to do with this match, but John Skylar and Corey Hollis got WWE tryouts this week, so that's neat. Apparently they don't work there. I didn't know. I thought they might be just, you know, performance center people who were teamed sometimes, but apparently no. They work on the indies. They got tryouts this week. Good on them. I hope that goes well. The Hype Bros aren't very good. I mean, Zack Ryder has gotten better at wrestling in the past 6 years since he was popular, or 5 years, whatever. It was 2011 was when Zack Ryder was a thing. He's gotten better at wrestling. They've decided not to have him on TV much. He was actually on Raw this past week, which was interesting. He fought Heath Slater in a match that I saw on Main Event last week, and I loved, but said it was an exercise in sad. It was kind of an exercise in sad again on Raw, but I loved it again, and Heath Slater won again. But other than that, I mean, this match wasn't great. Mojo Rawley was involved. It was unfortunate. Corey Graves mocked the fact that he has the eye black American football things under his eyes and how that makes no sense inside. And I agree with Corey Graves and also Mojo Rawley go away and
Yes,
whatever.
and football is good, but not.
You like football more than I do, but honestly, wearing the football eye things inside for wrestling, is that a good idea?
No, that's what I was getting to. Football is good, but not. Not it. It needs to make sense. I mean, if you're gonna do that, make it make sense, and it doesn't make sense.
You just running and trying to shoulder tackle people badly does not make an interesting gimmick. I don't know.
I mean, look at the former football players that have been in the WWE. From The
Like Baron
Rock
Corbin.
to don't say those names. From The Rock to Goldberg to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I mean, all of these people who have played football, and look what they're not doing horrible stupidness. I mean, I realize you're not the biggest Rock fan, but I mean, come on, he's much, much, much more entertaining than Mojo Rawley could ever hope to be.
Well, yeah.
I mean, hell, The Rock could
Are you
probably
kidding me?
sleep.
Yeah.
The
Like,
Rock could probably sleep and be more entertaining than Mojo Rawley. I mean,
probably.
these are facts.
Yeah, I could see why The Rock was a thing. I can see why The Rock, why A Rock? No, why The Rock was the thing. I get it. You know who's never going to be that thing? Mojo Rawley. Not going to happen.
For a second
Sorry,
there, I
dude.
thought you were going to say me, so I'm better now.
No, I'm not going to say you. Of course you would be the thing. Um, Mojo, though, I just have to say, child, I am not going to get hype, much less stay hype. Maybe just stop.
Maybe he
Maybe
should
just stop.
just. Oh, I have an idea, but I can't say it on the show. I'll tell you later.
What's your idea?
That he should possibly be launched out of a cannon towards something that might resemble our sun with
Can we give him the Intercontinental title and also Sin Cara's mask?
no. We can give him Sin Cara's mask, but he doesn't deserve the IC title, and So, anyways, after launching them into the sun, then we're gonna go to
But
what
yes,
happened
after the
next on
hype
the show.
bros, ruin our lives by existing some more. I mean, this is two
Right,
weeks in a
it's
row we've had
such
to see their matches. It's just unfortunate. I don't appreciate it at
maybe
all.
they're doing the thing like they did with that one guy where they brought him out, and you would know which jobber I'm talking about better than I will. They brought out one of the jobbers, and he was managing someone, and this someone lost, and after they lost, the manager and the someone both disappeared. Well, you told me later that they got released or something
Are you
along those
talking about
lines.
Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis
No, maybe. I don't remember. I thought it was someone before them too.
in NXT?
Yes, dear. It was somebody before them and then them as well. I know that they got released and stuff too, but
I know.
it
Tear.
was
Miss
it
them.
was someone before them, and you were. I remember you saying that. Oh, you loved this guy who was managing the other guy because he did something and said words, and
He
he
probably did
managed
something amusing once backstage.
and he managed someone, and you liked that someone because they were irrelevant, and you still liked them
It does sound like
because
something I would say.
that's something that you would say and
Yeah.
do. Oh, I don't remember his name now, but maybe they're doing that thing. Maybe they're like, hey, we'll put the hype hose on, and then when no one expects it, or when everybody's begging for it, we'll just release them
Yeah. Are you talking about 3MB?
to the sun. No.
But after the hype bros ruin our lives, we get Rich Brennan, and actually Rich Brennan, not Alex Reyes, because Alex Reyes interviewed Sami Zayn and Rich Brennan interviews Bayley and Carmella, and it confused the hell out of me the first time I watched this episode because I was like, wait a second, has Rich Brennan been here the whole time? Wait, is this actually Rich Brennan here with Carmella and Bayley? I'm so confused because
I
they
don't
look the same.
I don't know what a Rich Brandon is.
Rich Brennan was the lead commentator for NXT for ages and ages and ages. And yes, you heard his voice all the time before Tom Phillips took over. That was Rich Brennan. And sometimes he does interviews on the main roster, I think mostly on SmackDown backstage. Um, but he was actually backstage interviewing on NXT this week, which was weird. And it's even weirder because like he used to do that more often on NXT, but then Alex Reyes came and they look the same and it's just weird. And they're even making jokes about it on Twitter. Like Alex Reyes tweeted something about how he found Rich Brennan and it was like him sitting next to a statue of that guy from The Simpsons with the glasses. Is it Millhouse?
Oh gosh, yes, it's Millhouse.
Yes, yes. He was like, I
Rich-
found Rich Brennan, and it was funny. And Rich Brennan retweeted it and commented on it, and they know they look the same. And I don't know, like sometime I just want to see them have an interview battle or something. But that's just me going way into my brain. But Rich Brennan, actual Rich Brennan, real Rich Brennan, interviews Bayley and Carmella. And the whole theme of this episode is Bayley and Carmella are friends. Are they going to be able to still be friends after they have a match? I don't know. And they were hyping it so hard, right? Like they for weeks they've been like, "Wait, Bayley and Carmella are best friends. It's best friends time, right? Because in WWE, if you're friends, you are best friends. And how are you going to stay best friends even if you have to have a match against each other?" And I was like, "Crap. If Bayley and Carmella aren't best friends after this match, my heart is going to be broken." And I know that that's what they want me to think. And I know that I'm supposed to be on edge about them breaking up. But I'm so on edge about them breaking me up. So it's about them breaking up. Yeah, whatever. Like it's working, basically, is the point of what I'm trying to say. Because I was so worried that Bayley and Carmella weren't going to be friends. I think I messaged you about it. I was like, they had better be friends after this match. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yes, I believe you did message me about this.
I think I did. And I was talking to people on Twitter about it too. I was just like, you know what? I just want them to be friends. And the sirens in the background also wanted them to be friends, I'm sure. And it was just an interesting interview segment in that it wasn't very interesting. I mean, the whole point of it was, you know, Bayley says that the only thing harder than getting the women's championship was keeping the women's championship. You know, she's had to defend it a few times and then, Rich asks Carmella what she thinks and she's like, this is my first title opportunity and I don't know if I'm ever going to get anything like this again and I need to give it my all basically. And the two of them are just kind of like, you know what? No, I'm going to go out there for me. Friendship is awesome. and we're best friends, and we're going to be best friends afterward, but we're going to fight the hell out of each other during this match, and that's what's going to happen. And at the end of it, it's really cute because they say that, they are friends and the match isn't going to affect that, but when the bell rings, may the best woman win. And they do this little like handshake thing with their like hands, and they clasp them, and their heads go against their hands, and it's cute, and I just love them. And I realized that it's an entire like backstage friendship thing that's come on to actual NXT TV, because most of what we know of BayMella is from Breaking Ground, right? Or from Twitter or whatever. But I think it's cool that they're bringing it into the episode. And it's cool that they're bringing it in enough that I'm like, no, you can't turn on each other. Because even though I know they're going to be still like best friends, it doesn't matter. It made me care, right?
Well, I am glad. And yes, I agree with what you're saying. And as far as, yeah, with everything we have seen is basically from Breaking Ground and then the backstage snippet stuff they've been showing. But if it made you care, which was the point,
Mm-hmm.
then they did it right, and I am glad for that because Bayley is really good and she deserves to get that kind of recognition. And I think Carmella has a lot of potential. She's not quite there yet, but she's still young in the business, and she's getting there. She's doing really well.
Yeah.
So there is that. And I think I pretty much have, if I'm not mistaken, I've liked Carmella at least a little bit since I saw her.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you have. She's one of the few that you were like, no, I think I might like this person.
yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I know I didn't really care for. Oh man, I almost said the wrong name.
What did you almost say?
Alexis Lurie.
That's
That is Mickey James. That is not the right person.
I wouldn't have gotten there. I was like, are you mixing up Alexa and Candice LeRae? Like what?
Alexis Lurie was Mickey James's name before she was Mickey James.
Oh, I
Hers
didn't
had
know
Mickey.
that. I know very
Yeah.
little about Mickey James, unfortunately.
She was a good wrestler. She really was.
What I've seen has been great.
She was a really good wrestler. Which is
Still is, from
why,
what I hear.
well, which is why she didn't last as much on
Yeah.
the Fed. With Alexa Bliss, I didn't really care for her at first until I saw that, she has improved since I've been watching NXT, and I do appreciate her more now. But I think you're right. I mean, Carmella is one of the few, other than Bayley, Finn Balor, and Sami Zayn, that I pretty much have liked as soon as I saw them.
Right,
And
because
to
you tend to be fairly critical when you see people at first, which is fine. But it takes something to grab you. You're not going to just be like, oh, I want to like everything, like me, how I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to like absolutely everything. You're more like, no, you gotta kind of gotta show me why I need to care about you,
yes,
which isn't
and
bad.
no, I hate to say it like that because now it makes me sound like a dick. Thank you very much, but
It's not
um,
what I meant.
yeah, I mean, when I watch someone, basically, it's like, why should I care about you? You know, I have that I have that weird mixture of still being somewhat of a wrestling fan, more so now than the last couple of years, but also being a wrestler. And, the mix of that is like, okay, show me why I should care.
Right.
And when I see someone like, oh, I don't know, the Drifter, for
Hmm.
example, who doesn't show me why I should care, it's kind of like, yeah, I totally don't care, dude, because I have no reason to because you're not showing me why I should care.
Because even I am with the crowd saying drift away. We'll get to that, and we won't spend very long on it.
Good. I mean, I think we just covered it, but we can cover it again. You know, um,
I think that'll
sorry.
be about it. Yep.
We pretty much just covered it. Drift
I think
away.
that's about all I have to say about that match. I'll mention
So,
when it happens and we'll move on.
but I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. My brain got sidetracked now with thinking about drifting away because oh, that's so bad. But anyways, but see, my why should I care is very different from your why should I care. My why should I care can be, I could be watching the match and going, oh God, this is oh, you see that there where he did that, and then okay, that shows me that he's doing this intentionally, and he's actually better than he's coming across, and
Like,
I
oh,
can
he's
appreciate.
leading the match through this move and da da da, and like,
Well, it's like when I started appreciating Chad Gable more,
yeah.
you know,
Or Tyler Breeze, I would
or
say.
Tyler Breeze. Actually, no, the Tyler Breeze was the instance I was thinking of. When I started appreciating Tyler Breeze more, I saw him cover something just perfectly, and now I understand him better. And I have no idea who he was working, but there was something in the corner, and I saw him. He all he did was like sidestep just a little bit, not enough for most people to notice. And when he did that, he covered and protected. I think it was he covered and protected somebody, whoever he was in the ring with. And I
Yeah.
was like, that right there, that shows me that one, he cares about, well, he cares about the match for one. He cares about protecting his opponent for two, and he knows what he's doing. And it was a skilled person's maneuver, even though it was just such a slight little thing, but it was still it proved how skilled he is, and that's why I appreciated it more.
Because he had the details down.
That's something that means a lot to me as a wrestler when you can tell that the people in the ring care not only about, the match, but about wrestling altogether and about entertaining the fans, and when you can tell that the person cares, that it means something to them, it means more to me as a wrestler and a fan.
And when
Um,
they're taking the time to put all the details into play too. They're not just doing moves, they're not just doing the perfunctory things that they need to be doing. They're working on the art of it, right? Like they're not just doing a match, they're not just doing spots, they're not just doing whatever. Like they're working on the art of it and they're working on protecting their opponent and also making it great for the fans without necessarily having to get on the mic and say in a promo, "I'm trying to entertain you." Thumbs up. Awesome, right? Like I'm really tired of promos about how wrestling is so entertaining right now.
yeah,
I'm more interested in being entertained by good wrestling that
I,
is good.
I would be okay with them not saying I'm entertaining. No, no, no.
Like, no,
Because if you have to tell me you're entertaining,
then you're not entertaining
you're
me.
not entertaining. It's
How
the
about you
same
just
thing,
entertain me and we'll leave
right?
it
It's
at
the
that.
same thing with when people are like, "Oh no, you should like this guy because he's better than the person you like, and you should hate the person you like." No, okay, so this person's good. All right, let me watch them and see what I think about them.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that's how you and I have watched wrestling. You say, okay, this person's good, and I watch them, and I may not always agree.
You don't always agree, which is fine.
Oftentimes I don't.
I
But
don't always like your favorites either. I'm not mentioning names.
hey, just because you are not a huge fan of Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS, not mean I can't
You
be.
know, I prefer the Christmas creature. Assuming that guy was a heel. Was he a heel?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I
You
hate
know how long
Christmas,
ago
so
that's
I just want to think of him as a heel.
you know you know how long ago that's been. So
I
um
don't know. I actually don't know. Was that before or after Isaac Yankem? I don't know.
I it's been so long that I can't remember. I'm
I've
gonna
been
hold.
watching wrestling for like 5.5 years. But you mentioned Alexa Bliss earlier as someone that, didn't quite impress you at first necessarily, but you've grown to like her more, right? Because you've seen her facial expressions have been kind of awesome and she has been improving in the ring, correct?
Yes, and she's improving on talking.
Right. So someone to whom that does not apply is Cameron.
I
Alexa
was
Bliss
trying to
faced Cameron here.
forget about her
We're not going to spend
altogether.
long here. Cameron, bless her
Exists and
heart,
she
she
has nice hair.
exists. And she has nice hair, and I like her purple hair. And I feel like she and Naomi actually teamed on a live event recently. And,
Why would they do that to a crowd? Why would they do that to a crowd?
well, consider they were a tag team for a long time. And apparently they
Yeah,
can
but
just get.
peanut butter and jelly is a tag team, and that's better than. I'd rather see peanut butter jelly than ring. Sorry, let's continue.
Yeah, yeah. So Cameron's purple hair is kind of awesome. Everything about Cameron wrestling is not quite as awesome.
This is a fact.
Yeah, like although Cameron is better in the ring than Eva Marie,
Yeah, but that's not hard to do.
right? But here's my point. I
That's like
really
saying
wish,
gray's a brighter color than black. It's just not. That's
true. I
These are
know.
facts.
I know that, like, the comparison's not, like, earth-shattering, right? I'm not saying
No.
that Cameron's good. What I wish, though, and this is all I can say about this match, really, is that I wish that Eva Marie's whole trajectory had been given to Cameron instead. Because Cameron, at least when she comes out to the ring and she has her girl bye entrance, that she sings, and it's terrible. And I swear the only words she knows are girl bye because she says it like 12 times in the match, right? Cameron at least moves like a person and not like an automaton. And so it's like it's a step up from Eva Marie. So if Cameron had been given the entitled storyline of like the model who can't do anything and then wanted to prove herself and still couldn't really do anything, at least it wouldn't be quite as painful as Eva Marie's in-ring work.
She had a storyline? Wow.
What, Cameron?
I don't know. I
Or
wasn't paying
Eva?
attention.
Well, Eva's whole story is, you can't wrestle. Yeah, you're actually right, but I'm pretending that I can because the Brian Kendrick is doing his darndest to make me wrestle, but I'm terrible. So it's not really working out. So now I'm with Naya, as we'll talk about in a little
Oh,
while,
boy.
which
Okay,
I
cool.
actually love personally. As Sondra, I really love that. But um,
If I don't say anything for a while, it's not that I'm asleep. It's just that I'm asleep.
right, which is
Yeah.
fine. But Alexa and Cameron was not very good. Cameron is still trying to do the splits on moves that don't require the splits, nor should they involve the splits. Like, kicking someone shouldn't really involve the splits, and what even are you doing? Alexa's glitz flip didn't look super great here.
No, it was she flopped it.
She kind of
And
flopped.
I like her enough, but I will still say she flopped this.
She kind of did. Um, but Alexa was definitely the better worker of this match. Alexa, who's been doing this a lot less time and who's never been on the main roster, and it's just really interesting to see where the women's division is going and where it's been because I feel like in this match Cameron represents where the women slash divas roster has been, and
Mm-hmm.
Alexa represents where it is going. And
And
Alexa's still on the upswing, and Alexa keeps improving. So there's
I
hope.
thought, I thought Cameron was a female wrestler before she became a Funkadactyl. Or was that all a
She was
word
in
fit?
FCW, but
That's
other
not
than
what I
that,
said.
I don't think so.
Either way,
On
moving
Total
on.
Divas, the story is that she came into FCW and only was there for like 2 months and then got called up on the road. And I think that's actually the truth. But I don't know. It wasn't a very good match.
No.
Um, Blake and Murphy were on the outside. I love them. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, I don't get that either, but okay.
Well,
I know. You like drivers.
I do. I really, really do. I get attached very easily.
So yeah, Blake and Murphy were on the outside. They made an appearance.
They did, and I liked it. And she begged off for a minute, like when Cameron looked like she was pretending to get in some offense, and that was cute. And she wins it with the
Yeah.
Sparkle Splash. It was great. It was fine. I'm fine with moving on to my favorite promo segment of the evening. Loved this promo segment. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I'm sure you didn't love it as much as I did, William. I'm sure nobody loved it as much as I did, listener.
Especially seeing as I don't remember it.
Enzo
Probably
and
not.
Cass were backstage,
Oh,
and
that
they
was
were
alright.
just talking about how they were the NXT Tag Team Champions of the Year. And yeah, I don't remember exactly what they said verbatim, but I'm just going to put that promo in right here because I think it was great.
Dash and Dawson, this is a reminder that me and Zoe are not done with you two. You are looking at the 2015 NXT Tag Team of the Year.
Trophies.
And in 2016, NXT Awards going back to back. We're going back to back.
Back to back like we on the cover of Lethal Weapon.
Oh,
Cass.
back to back, it's the Jordan in '87.
Those not good.
You completely messed that up. Do you even know the lyrics to the song, Gable?
I know the words,
No, zero
Cass. You know what? It doesn't matter that he doesn't know the words because you guys aren't going back to back. That was 2015, and this is 2016.
Ooh, an Olympic year, and you know what that means.
I guess what you're trying to imply, Gable, is that in 2016 it'll be an Olympic year,
Yes.
and that means it's going to be your year.
He got it. He knew right away.
I gotta be
See,
honest with you. You seemed really confused. That wasn't too clear. I don't think you were headed in
Oh,
that
no, I
direction
do
until he
that,
said
Cass,
it.
sometimes. I'm layered.
Are you-
I'm real deep like
Really?
that. Yeah.
Tiramisu over here. Huh?
Gets it
He
now.
really does do that. You
Oh,
know?
does he? Okay.
But you know, all that matters is that we're gonna be fighting back to back next week against Dash and Dawson and
nailed
Blake and
it.
Murphy.
That
You know
was
what I mean?
nice. Way to bring that full circle,
So
Jordan. That
we're
was
making
nice,
ends
dude.
meet ends,
Yeah,
dude.
that was
Let's
good,
get
man.
money.
Yeah.
Let's get paid.
Yeah, that was good, man.
That's what I'm down
All right,
for.
and we're going to be ready. Come on, boys. Do it with me. Willing?
No.
Here we go. And
Skywalker,
Gable.
Skywalker.
No, that was supposed to be my name, you guys. You got that wrong.
That's a great promo that we just listened to right there.
I thought it was great. And after Enzo and Cass were talking, obviously, as you just heard, they were joined by Chad Gable and Jason Jordan.
Yes,
it
and
was
that
great.
was enjoyable too.
I love them. I love them
I
so
do
much.
like that. I know you're a big fan of them, and
am.
I am liking them more. And they are getting better at talking. They're still not great, but they're getting better, and I appreciate that.
I think part of their awkwardness is part of their charm. I really do. Because here, Enzo and Cass were quoting a song that I had to look up the reference to because I don't actually listen to popular music currently nowadays. I'm 31 and I sound like I'm 82, but whatever. They referenced apparently Drake's song Back to Back. I don't even know who Drake is because I'm really old or something. But,
Stop calling yourself old.
well,
I'm older than you are.
I know you are, but I feel old
So you're,
when I'm like,
what are you,
I don't know
What are you
who's
calling me then?
I'm calling
I
it older, but probably more in touch with the world than me. I don't know. I just watch wrestling.
don't know who Drake is either, or why he's a thing. or
I
if
have
he
no
should even-
idea. I mean, I think Drake
Country.
younger, the ref, Drake Wirtz, my favorite ref in NXT. He's awesome. I got to say hi to him at NXT Indy, and I was all excited. But
You did get to say hi to him.
I did,
hope
and it
you
was
should ask
fun.
for a picture with him.
well, I didn't want to bother him. He looked like he was in the middle of something.
I'm sure if you'd have said, "Hey Drake, can I just get a picture with you real quick?" You'd have probably been like, "Sure."
If I would have marked out and been like, "You're my favorite ref,"
Probably.
he
You'd be
probably
like,
would have because he seems like a really nice guy, and
"Can
he
I get a
actually
high
retweets
five?"
like every time everyone says nice things about him. So, yeah,
They should have went for a high five at least. Like high five.
I know.
Probably.
I was nervous. I was shy.
Yes, I remember you did that with me once.
I did.
I know. I wasn't making this up. This was a fact.
No, I did.
I
Like,
know.
that's actually
know.
true of when we met. I was like, oh my
I
god.
know, which is hilarious because now it's like you would not be shy to me at all.
No, I give you shit all the time.
You'd be like, "I'm gonna punch you because I want to." And, this
And
is
also,
gonna
you
happen.
taught me how, so tell me how I do.
It's true. So.
But
so,
no, Enzo and Cass were talking about how they were going to be the tag team of the year in 2016 also, and how they would be back to back. And they said back to back, and then Chad Gable comes in and apparently tries to complete the song or lyric or like quote other words to the same song that they were referencing that I don't actually know, but he kind of fucks it up like I would. Like I'm probably fucking up talking about it right now. And it was awkward and it was adorable. And the main point is that Gable was like, yeah, well, whatever. That was 2015. This is 2016. And it's an Olympic year. And you know what that means. And Enzo's like, you're saying it's an Olympic year. So you're saying it's going to be your year, right? Chad Gable, who went to the Olympics-ish. And, well, no, he did go to the Olympics. I'm just saying ish because that's not exactly what he said. But I don't know. I thought the banter here was really cute. I thought that Colin Cassidy was like, Chad, are you sure that that's where you were going? Because I'm not sure you knew that you were going in that direction until Enzo, figured it out or whatever. I just thought the four of them were adorable together because I actually really, really love Jason Jordan and Chad Gable promos as well as wrestling. And I probably love their promos a lot more than you do right now. But I think the awkwardness plays into it. And I think it gives them character. And I think that it makes Chad Gable seem like more of a well-rounded character because it's easy to be the Olympic athlete jock guy who's perfect at everything. And like he went to the Olympics, right? And he is amazing at wrestling. Like he's so good. But the fact that he's so awkward as a person and so socially inept that he had to stalk Jason Jordan to get him to tag with him. And like he carries a towel around with his name on it. There's something about that that I just love even more.
See, um,
Don't love it as much as I do, which is fair.
I disagree that the awkwardness is good for them. I think it takes away from their characters simply because if you're a professional wrestler, you're supposed to be confident about what you're doing. I
Well, he
mean,
is confident.
well, he doesn't. It's not you're misunderstanding words.
Okay.
No, I think it takes away from their character, and I just don't like it. The awkward thing, I just doesn't work for me. So
That's fine. That's fair. I really like it because I think he seems confident in his own bullshit-ish. Like, he doesn't think he's socially awkward. He thinks he's awesome. He's wrong in the sense of, no, you're so socially awkward, it's ridiculous. And Jason Jordan even is kind of like, I don't really know how to feel about you sometimes, even though you're my bro and you're my partner and I love you. Um, and maybe we have this weird sort of erotic thing going on, but it's
oh,
fine.
whoa, why did you have to go there? I mean, come on now.
Well, how often does Chad Gable say my name to Jason Jordan?
That's really disturbing, and I think I'm going to cry now. Thank you for ruining something for me in wrestling.
Well, then just don't think about that.
Well,
It's
yeah, good luck with that.
fine. But no, I mean
Every
that's not
time
the
he
main
says
reason.
that, every time he says, say my name, and he goes, I'm gonna get in my mind and
Well,
go,
it's not like they're
bitch,
as homoerotic as Blake and Murphy.
say my name, bitch. Say it. Say my name. That's what's gonna go through my head now.
Well, you know,
And
it's kind
Blake
of.
and Murphy are gross.
I love them, but I watch Queer as Folk, so whatever. No, I think it's the end point on this promo segment that I love, and that you heard because I'm inserting the promo segment earlier in the episode, is when Chad Gable's like, no, okay, we're gonna do the catchphrase, right? Because his whole thing is like, we're gonna do this catchphrase that I love, that's my thing, that because it's a catchphrase, it has my name in it. He's like, we're gonna be ready, and everyone's like, oh, for fuck's sake, and he's like, willing, and Jason Jordan says Jordan, and Big Cass says Cass, and Enzo says Smack Talker Skywalker, which I loved because he didn't even say Enzo, he said Smack Talker Skywalker. And Gable's like, no, you were supposed to say my name. It was supposed to be me. And I think it just perfectly illustrates his awkwardness, and I love him, and he's great. And then we had the Drifter versus Jesse Sorensen, and nobody cared because it was boring. And then after that, Alex Reyes was back and he was talking to Apollo Crews. Sorry, did you have anything to say about what I just sort of steamrolled through?
No,
Okay, good, because it was boring. Um,
I'm
yeah,
trying to purge it from my memory.
yeah, it's fine. Alex Reyes is back. He's talking to Apollo Crews, and I will say this I liked because Alex Reyes asked Apollo Crews about last week's loss to Finn Balor. He says, something about like, how do you feel about losing to Finn Balor last week? Because last week Apollo Crews fought Finn Balor in a non-title match that Finn Balor actually won, so a champion won a non-title match, which was awesome. And that's kind of a thing for Apollo Crews because this match was important to him, right? Like he wasn't looking for a title match to try to win the belt right away. He just wanted to prove that he could potentially be the better man and to get back in the hunt for the title. He didn't prove that. He fought the champion and he lost. And that doesn't mean good things for him in the title scene, really, if you think about it. And now Apollo Crews has to decide what's next for him, and he has to decide how to deal with that. And he was like, you know what? I don't feel bad. I know what I need to do. I faced the best. I faced the champion, and I didn't win. But the next time you see me, you'll see a different Apollo Crews. And I'm interested to see where that goes. And what I like about this so much is what I talked about with Shane also. They said what's important is that if you lose a big match as a wrestler, that loss needs to affect you, right? Like it's the exact opposite of what happens with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt loses to John Cena and it doesn't affect him. He's like, whatever, I'm the new face of fear, I'm awesome. And then he loses to The Undertaker, and he's like, whatever, I spent 6 weeks telling you that I'm the new face of fear and I'm going to beat The Undertaker. I lost to The Undertaker, but who gives a fuck? Like, I'm the new face of fear. It's fine. I'm awesome. And I love Bray Wyatt. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, but he's not affected by loss. Apollo Crews here is affected by loss, and that makes Apollo Crews way more interesting to me. And that makes me want to know what he's going to do going forward. And it makes me want to know what he means by a different Apollo Crews. Do I think it needs to mean a heel turn? No, I don't. I don't at all, actually. Sami Zayn lost and was affected by loss and lost for a long time. He lost for like 2 years. And then he finally won, and it was amazing. And I think Apollo Crews losing some matches, as opposed to just being an undefeated smiling guy, is way more interesting than Apollo Crews continuing to win and being a smiling guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see where it goes, and I really super appreciate that NXT is making this guy who seems like a sure thing, right? Like Apollo Crews looks great. He's very talented. He's very athletic. He's very good at wrestling. He's a little too spotty in terms of matches for me, but he kind of proved that he's capable of more in his match with Finn Balor last week. They're giving him some depth, and I really appreciate that. And I'm getting kind of more into Apollo Crews, which I think is good. Then, I mean, the next thing we have is we see Bayley walking to the ring, and she has her belt, and she's looking like, hey, I have this match coming up, and it's going to be awesome. And the last match of the evening, obviously, is Bayley versus Carmella for the NXT Women's Championship. And I liked this match. I did. I thought it was really good. Carmella's not super experienced in the ring. She's still learning. She had to be led through some of it, but I thought overall, I thought it played out really well. I don't know, what were your impressions? I know not specifics of the match or anything, but what did you think?
Overall, I did enjoy the match. I think, like you said, that Carmella is not the most experienced, but she's getting there. I think that there were, yes, Bayley led her through the match at a few spots. And it wasn't like completely blatantly obvious. Yeah, she there was a couple spots where it wasn't blatantly obvious, but there was one that it was very, very obvious that she was leading. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just shows Carmella's inexperience, but it also shows Bayley's level of talent and experience that she was able to get her through such a thing and keep the match going and keep it good enough for TV. So there's that. Overall, I did enjoy this match. It wasn't my favorite, but it was good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the fans who wanted to see this match, which should be most everybody,
Mm-hmm.
that I think the match, I think the fans got, a good solid match. And unless there's someone who, doesn't deserve breath, then they got to realize that, Bayley deserved to win, and she did
Well,
win, and that's
yeah.
what matters. And um, but it was good. It was fun, and there were spots that their friendship really showed through, and I kind of got what I was hoping for and somewhat, kind of expecting. So overall, I would say I was happy with the match and happy with the performance, and I think that with a little more time, training and working with Bayley and other top quality wrestlers, that Carmella will actually end up being a pretty decent talent. I don't know if she'll be necessarily better than Bayley, but I think she'll be. I think she has the potential to be at least, you know, I would say it's close to as good as Bayley is, if not as good, just depending on how hard she's willing to work. But I do see potential in her, and I think that you know, as long as they keep giving her a chance and she's working hard, we'll get something really good out of her before she moves up to the main roster.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree entirely. I think with Carmella, it's interesting because Carmella and Alexa Bliss are very similar to me, just in terms of women who came in and who were not wrestlers, and they've been trained by Our Lady and Savior Sarah Del Rey and Sarita Stock also. Like they've come in and they've not had indie experience, so they've not wrestled a whole bunch of different people, right? Because when you wrestle only in one place and you wrestle only like at the performance center, only in, one spot, whatever, you you don't necessarily get experience from a whole bunch of people, but sometimes it can still work out. And I think it shows Carmella's aptitude that she is still improving and she's still doing really well. I mean, she's not been doing this as long as Alexa Bliss, and that's why Alexa Bliss may seem to be a little bit more improved than Carmella, right? But I think this match was really cool because Bayley and Carmella, in terms of like shoot friendship, they are actual friends and they are actual best friends. And we know that. We know that from Twitter. We know that from Breaking Ground. We know that from whatever, like social media stuff. Periscope. They have adorable Periscope things. And I basically figured out what Periscope was because of Bayley and Carmella.
I don't know what that is.
It's like this live streaming video thing where you take videos of yourself and people can watch it. And sometimes they
Oh,
video themselves like
that's
singing in a car, and it's adorable. And I'll show them to you sometime because it's really cute. But I mean, Bayley and Carmella being like actual friends, it makes the story interesting, right? Because you're like, oh wait, they're actual friends, like in actual real life. It's great that they get to have a match. So even if you're like a super smart cat like me, and you're like, oh, I know everything that goes on behind the scenes, which I never want to be that person. I never want to be the person who's like, oh, well, I know all of the da da da, like these are the plans and this is the stuff and da da da, because that's not really how I like to watch wrestling. That's how I end up watching wrestling a lot of the time because I do a podcast about wrestling and I read a lot about wrestling and I'm involved with Inside the and like that's just what we do, right? But I do also want to get lost in wrestling and in the stories and in what's going on. And these are the kinds of things where I'm like, you know what? No, this is a real life friendship. And even though I know that they are actual friends and they're going to stay actual friends, I'm fine with it. Like, I want them to also stay actual friends on TV. And I want that to stay a thing in the story in addition to real life. And it draws me in. And like I said earlier, it works for me and it made me care. And even if I'm not drawn in by the whole work of the situation, like I think it's really cool that these two ladies who are best friends can get to have a match on this big of a stage because they main evented this show. And something I didn't mention before, this was at the CFE Arena in Orlando, and this was a much bigger arena than Full Sail. Like I forget how many people were actually at the show, but it was a lot of people. A lot more people than attend shows in Full Sail University, right? Like this was actually a very big taping. So it was pretty cool that they got to main event this. And it was pretty cool that they got to, you know, have a match. And they got a lot of time. It was like 18 minutes left when this match started. And granted, there's a little bit of a promo afterward or whatever, but they got decent time for this match. And I thought it was really, really cool for the two women involved. I thought it was really neat. And also, I thought the match was pretty good. I mean, the story of the match is that Carmella's obviously the less skilled wrestler, right? Like, she's obviously the less skilled wrestler. Bayley's amazing. There's very little about Bayley not to love. Bayley is not just a great character, she's one of the greatest characters they have. She's a great wrestler in terms of her mat game, in terms of submissions, in terms of just psychology, in terms of working the crowd, in terms of everything in wrestling, right? Bayley is very, very good. Do you agree with me? Yeah. Carmella is not as good as Bayley in terms of actual wrestling, in terms of her mat game, in terms of submissions. I mean, as she said last week, her father was a submission wrestler. Her father is he's been a wrestler for WWF. He's done some MMA. Like, this is in her blood, and it is. And that's great. But she doesn't have as much experience as Bayley, and she's not as skilled as Bayley. And I think the story's very clear. I mean, that's what happens when you have a battle royal to crown your number one contender, right? And I'm saying this in storyline. I think it's cool because anyone can become a number one contender in a battle royal, really. Like, a battle royal is not a tournament. You're not weeding people out necessarily in a battle royal. It's like, oh, a weird surprise person could become the number one contender in a battle royal. That could be interesting. Let's see what happens. That's the genius of a battle royal to crown a number one contender. Sometimes that doesn't work out so well. Sometimes it turns into kind of a cool story, and I think it turned into kind of a cool story here, but there's no way Carmella's going to beat Bayley. Not really, because she's not as good at this, and she's not the best at wrestling. Like, she's not even as good as Alexa Bliss, but she's good. She's getting better. And there were some near falls near the end where it was like, no, Carmella's really like she's pulling out some stuff, right? Like she does her multiple suicide dives to the outside, her, cross bodies to Bayley. And it's like, oh wait, Carmella's pulling out all the stops. Carmella's pulling out some stuff she hasn't done before. What if Carmella won? That would be insane. Like we know it's not going to happen. We know in our brains that it's not going to happen. But in the match, you're like, wait, what? This could be an interesting thing. She's doing all this stuff. She had the crowd behind her, definitely. Like she definitely stepped up her game here, and I think the really cool thing about this is that it made Carmella look like a way more worthy contender than we would have thought her to be before. And it means the women's division is kind of looking bright in the future. And I know that people were really worried when three of the four horsewomen graduated, quote unquote, and I will say quote unquote because seriously, to the main roster, that the women's division in NXT could suffer for that. But I don't really think it suffers all that much. I think that some of the match quality might suffer for a little while, but I think that things are looking up. And I think that things are looking good, and I'm really excited to see what happens. And what's cool about this, too, is okay, so I'm not really sure how to feel about the finish because the finish was kind of similar to last week. Like, Carmella beat Emma with just a backslide, and it felt really awkward. And it felt kind of like, was this a mistake? Was this meant to be the end? Was it meant to feel more urgent? Was it meant to feel more like an exchange of finishes? Not super sure. It felt weird. And in this one, at least, Bayley beat Carmella with, they were in the middle of a bunch of false finishes, and I can't remember exactly what cover she used, but it was like that Bayley beat her with a, roll up cover thing, and I can't remember which one, but it felt kind of out of the blue, and it was like, oh, that's interesting that it ended on that. Weird. But it was still kind of cool because it was like, no, they were kind of going toe to toe, exchange for exchange, cover for cover. And it made Carmella feel like kind of a big deal, I guess. It made it feel like Carmella was a worthy opponent and like maybe Carmella could have taken it on a different day in a different situation if she were better and maybe it were a year from now. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of cool. And then after Bayley does cover Carmella, she looks upset. She looks upset that she lost. She's not happy, obviously, because she lost the match, but they are still friends. And my worst fears were not confirmed. They are still friends after the match. And Bayley even raises Carmella's hand afterward. And she's like, you know what? Carmella did a great job. And she kind of is like, you know what? You're awesome. And Bayley even mouths to Carmella at one point, which they didn't mention on commentary, but I saw her mouth it to her, like, one day this is going to be yours. She points to her belt and she's like, this is going to be yours one day. And I thought that was cool because that was like, no, she's giving you a lot here. And I think that's very cool. And unfortunately, our dreams have to be dashed by the evil, evil, evil Nia Jax, Eva Marie, who attack Carmella outside the ring as Bayley's still in the ring. And Nia Jax and Eva Marie are being so dastardly, right? Like, they're attacking her, and you think that they're going to go after the title next because Nia has been in title contention. Eva had a title match and was terrible, but it ended up being one of the most fun matches in NXT as of late. Like, I actually loved Bayley versus Eva Marie, but it was shenanigans galore. But then, after that, you get Asuka coming out to chase off Nia Jax and Eva Marie, and Asuka sort of just paws at the NXT Women's Championship and makes a motion like, hey, I would like to have that, maybe. And what do you think about the possibility of Nia versus Bayley, or not Nia, but Asuka versus Bayley?
I still don't like Asuka enough to care. I'm sorry. I don't. She's getting, actually, after seeing her at the live event, I can't even say she's getting better. Honestly, I really feel like she's stalemated at this point.
I think she was worse at the live event, which was
I was trying to be nice because you always accuse me of not being nice, so I was trying to be nice, and you're right, she was worse at the live event, and I really To be honest, I hope she doesn't get a shot against Bayley for a while because I don't think she deserves or has earned it yet.
The Asuka thing's weird because I really like Asuka. I do.
Yeah,
But I don't disagree with you about the live event situation, and I don't disagree with you about Asuka not really stepping it up lately, I guess. It's not going to be a popular opinion. And part of this has to do with the fact that we saw her in Indianapolis and the match was awkward and she fought Emma and Asuka versus Emma was amazing at TakeOver and it was not so amazing in Indianapolis. I think it could still be really good. I'm still really excited about the prospect of Asuka versus Bayley. I think that it needs more build, especially because Dallas isn't until April and it is February. So we'll see what happens. So, yeah, thank you for joining me for the show. Thank you everyone for listening. Find us on social media. You can definitely get in touch with us. Let us know what you think of this show. Let us know what you think of NXT. Let us know what you think of everything going on. I am on Twitter at SondraRuthRW. You are on Twitter at WilliamStud1. And anything else you want to say?
thank you guys for listening. Thank you for having me back. One of these days we'll have to do a show when I'm not dying of sleep deprivation.
We keep
And
meaning to do that and then failing, which is my fault.
but no, I was glad to be back, and hopefully you people out there listening, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show, and if not, what's wrong with you?
Seriously.
Are you
Seriously.
are you guys not human? Do you not speak of the English? I guess you
But
gotta
we
go
do
with that.
love all of you people who are listening in foreign countries. We seriously do.
Yes, of course. So there's that. Anyways, thank you. Keep on keeping on.
And all that jazz. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.